I'm very emotional about feelings and what's happening. And I don't like my tax dollars. I don't like my money that I pay, a lot of money, going into buying weapons and bombs and all kinds of stuff. And I'm having a hard time feeling really good about this, vibrating at an energy that makes me feel good.
We understand. We feel sorry for any of you who look around the world and need it to behave in any way so that you can feel better, because it's a big world and there are a lot of things happening and you can't control it. And so when your happiness depends on something like that coming into alignment with what you believe should be, then there are all kinds of things that could be out of harmony with what you believe that could potentially keep you from your happiness.
But I'm the one that's contributing my money, and I'm living in this country that's supporting that. I'm not talking about the whole world and you know, I'm talking about my part of it, okay? I'm actively involved in something that if I don't pay my taxes, I go to jail, okay, number one. And two, I see the need for information in this country, for truth to come through. I really commend you in what you're doing, but I'm talking about media and understanding. And since everything is interconnected with everything else, we're all one. Everything is all a part of everything. We're not separate. How can I not have feelings or have an awareness when the other day I was having a little Cuban lunch, and there's a couple of young men that come in, and one of them was going to go to Iraq, and he was ready and roaring and had no clue. No clue. I talked to him for a while, you know, and I said, God bless them. You know, my job is to bless them, but they have no clue. They're not aware. If they were aware, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. You know?
Well, there are a number of things that we want to give you about this. Jerry struggled, as you do, with the idea of paying a lot of taxes and the taxes being used for things that he does not approve of. And then we said to him one day, you're not even paying enough taxes this year to buy one smart bomb. And it sort of got his attention a little bit. And then we said to him, mentally project your taxes toward those things that you appreciate. We said, is there anything that taxes are spent for that you appreciate? And so every year, every quarter, as they pay their estimated taxes, Esther always joyously writes on the stub where she would like this money to go. And since there is a lot of money going to a lot of places, it's easy for her to assume that her money is going to those specific places that she is asking it to go to. Now, what that did was that soothed them. That made the offering of taxes an easy thing to come into alignment with, because paying taxes for something you don't believe in is a splitting of energy that is very unpleasant. And then, relative to the subject of your government, who you think represents you, doing things that do not well represent what you mean or what you feel or what you would do if you were in charge. I want to give you something here that will soothe you. And soothing you is what this is all about, and we'll come back around to that in a moment to help you to understand how important that is. But from our vibrational, non-physical vantage point, we can see everything about your earth as it is being lived now. We're aware of the vibrational currents. We can hear every request that is being uttered, and we can see the currents and energy streams as they are moving. And we want you to hear us and know this, that you are, as individual consciousnesses, having your individual experiences, casting your individual vibrational electronic ballots, so that people living in places where horrible things are happening are emanating vibrational requests for things to be better. And people like you, who are on the other side of the world, who are watching it from a distance, are emanating these vibrational requests. And we want you to understand that when requests are sent out, as they always are, that Source is answering as it always is, and that sometimes people get themselves in a vibrational place where they let them in. Now, if you were to go to Iraq or to so many of these places where these conflicts are raging, and you were to spend any time amongst the people that are living there, you might come to a clear understanding of how it is that something would happen in that place. In other words, it was no accident and not ill-inspired that the towers that came down in New York City were the towers that came down. And it wasn't just because the people flying the planes designated them as their target. There is a reason that they were found to be the target. And it's a reason far beyond what you think is taking place in the planning back rooms of either your military or someone else's military or revolutionist group. It is these focal points happen as a result of the energy that is being flowed. That region has been under such conflict for so many years. It makes itself this vibrational target, so to speak. And so we are certainly not encouraging your government or any government to proceed in the way that it is. But we want you to understand that everything that is happening as a result of mass consciousness's participation in it. And your government, who makes the decisions about waging the war or dropping the bombs, is a smaller part of the unfolding of the events than you think. In other words, we understand how your logic says, well, they're in office and they're making the decisions, and if someone else were in office, they would be making different decisions, and if we weren't sending the money, they wouldn't have the resources to make the bombs. But you cannot go back and undo it that far, because all of this has been being projected into your future experience. What is happening in your experience today was set into motion by long time history of thoughts. Even that you're talking about with Hitler is part of the vibrational essence of what is taking place here. So what we're really getting at here is, as an individual, certainly you want to play a responsible role in contributing to your mass consciousness. But we are really wanting you to understand that you cannot, as an individual, nor would you want to, put on your shoulders the responsibility of dictating the way these affairs should turn out, because they are not, as it appears, the results of the decision of one man or even one merry band of men who are sitting around and deciding what they are doing. It's a bigger current than that. So as you are here in your physical format and as you are deciding to be a deliberate creator, we want you to find the relief of finding the vibration of the true current that is you. And as you do that, what happens in the beginning, as you meditate, as you appreciate, as you do those things that cause you to move consistently up the vibrational scale, and you consistently are in vibrational alignment with who you are, so you have that clarity and love flowing through you. We know that when you focus upon things like this, it will make you crazy. In other words, you can't consistently achieve a vibration of connection to source and then focus upon things like that without it sort of ripping you apart. But as you make the decision to move up the vibrational scale, and as it becomes increasingly important to you that you do feel good, you are not forsaking those who need you. In other words, then that is the thing that people worry about. They say, well, I am prosperous and I live in a wonderful land and I can have what I want, and so I feel guilty about not carrying the banner for the downtrodden. Somebody needs to carry the banner for the downtrodden. And we want to say to you that you cannot be in vibrational alignment with well-being and in vibrational alignment with the downtrodden. And the downtrodden cannot hear you when you are in vibrational alignment with well-being. That's what so many teachers mean when they talk to you about Jesus said the poor will be with us always, and that's what he was talking about. In other words, you cannot change the vibration of others. You can only offer the vibration that is you. So what you're saying to us here, we hear you and feel you loud and clear. You're saying, I want to be in vibrational alignment with who I am, but when I focus upon the action of my government, I cannot be in vibrational alignment with who I am. And I resent them dramatically for what they do to others, and even more important, what they are doing to me in my vibration. I like them better when they're on peacekeeping missions. I like them better when they're dropping food food in places that need it. I like them better when they do things that make me proud to be affiliated with them. And we say, you're in big trouble when you tie the way you feel in with what anybody else does, because you cannot dictate or control what they do, you see. Don't let anybody, not your government, not anybody, represent you. You represent you. You align with the energy that is you, and don't ask of yourself the impossible. And the impossible that you're asking is, I've got to find a way to look at things that are horrible and like it. Can't do that. Or I've got to learn to like horrible things. Can't do that. Or I've got to train myself to look where things feel good where I look. You can do that. And then you say, but I feel guilty about that. Because don't we need to do something about what's wrong in this world? Aren't we sure to repeat our mistakes if we don't look at them and find out what was wrong with them? And we say, actually, the contrary is true. You are sure to repeat anything that you continue to look at. And there will always be another Hitler, because there is so much attention given to that, you see. There will always be another seeker of power who will, in a well-meaning attitude, seek to right the way for the majority by offering havoc to those with whom they disagree. And you just got to pull yourself up out of that. Now, there are a number of things that we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes to soothe you. Some things we would say are as follows. The pendulum swings, things change, public opinion changes, these things move slowly. Nothing ever happens to anyone or to any region that is not a vibrational match to the energy that surrounds it. It's not my job to vibrate for the world, but it is my job to vibrate for me. I can stand at my place of distance from this conflict, and I can see it, and I can feel the rockets of desires emanating from me for peaceful regions and for children living happily ever after. And when the desire is born within me, I will then put my attention upon that desire. In other words, go with the flow. Now, you heard us talking about make a decision and then line up with the decision. And the discomfort that you are feeling is because you've made a decision of how you want your government to be, but you're focusing upon how your government is. So you've decided how you would like it to be, but rather than lining up with how you'd like it to be, you're looking at what is. You're facing the truth of it. People do this all the time. They say, shouldn't I look at this because after all it is true? And we say, if you're looking at a truth that contradicts your alignment with what you want, now you are not an influence for the good that you want, you see. You cannot condemn the actions of your government and be in alignment with the desires that are being born out of your observation of what is happening. And there's a big difference between putting your head in the sand and just saying it's not my work, it's their problem, they'll have to deal with it, which is not pleasing to you and not what we are encouraging, and saying, I'm watching this, I hate what's happening, this rocket of desire is born from me, I want people to live in peace, I want us to get along, and turning your full and undivided attention to your vision. And we have to say to you that while that may seem like not very much action, it might not seem like very much influence. From our vantage point, when someone like you gets a whiff of what's going on and with reasonable willingness studies the event and feels the desires and opinions formulating within you, and then you line up with those desires by imagining it turning in the direction of what you're wanting, and you receive immediate soothing as you begin doing that, one like that is more powerful than millions who are just observing the conflict. Every person focused is emitting desires, and Source hears all of those desires. So in times of greater conflict, there is more cry going out of more people for more balance. And as one here and one there and one here and one there learns to focus in alignment with what they're asking for, those vortexes open wider. Those are the powers of influence, you see. So in short, you cannot condemn your government even when it's wrong and help anything.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.